how do you deal with your loved ones when it comes to negativity? When you decide to become the best version of yourself, you're going to outgrow the people that you're familiar with. And a lot of times it's your family members, it's your friends, and it can even be your significant other. Welcome or welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, Ty Guidance. And this is going to be a touchy subject, so get you a paper towel, some tissues, most importantly, your notebook and your pen, because we're here to talk and take notes. So you have to realize that there's nothing wrong with loving your family members, even if they're dysfunctional, chaotic, don't know who they are, whether they traumatize you or not. Why? Because these are the first people that you meet when you come to earth, other than the people you met at the hospital. If you know, you know. Keeping it on surface level, you have to realize that other than the people that you meet at your school and your jobs and activities and in your community, these are the people that are supposed to love you unconditionally and be there for you. But a lot of times, a lot of our parents, a lot of our family members are unhealed. Let's just be honest. We're here to be very vulnerable, very transparent. A lot of them come from trauma. A lot of them come from trials and tribulations. If you're a minority, a lot of us are dealing with generational curses and cycles. So you have to realize that until these people in our family learn to heal from their ancestors and their parents and etc., if they're not willing to do the work, if they're not willing to seek help, if they're not willing to meet you where you are, you cannot change them. You cannot force them to be something that they're not. And it's up to you to create distance, continue to love them, or completely cut access. It's very simple. The emotional impact when you're surrounding yourself with family members is draining when it's negative. If you are always having altercations, if you guys are not able to see eye to eye, if people are not listening, understand, you have to be the bigger person. And a lot of times there's this misconception that when you're the bigger person, you're just an idiot, you're dumb, you're stupid. And it's just like only those groups of people unfortunately think that way. Like you have to be naive and ignorant to think that somebody choosing to be mature is dumb. That's so ignorant of people to, project. And not just that, it's difficult to maintain a positive outlook when somebody is a certain way and they're not willing to learn or grow. And you have to be okay with that. You have to realize that creating distance and accepting them for who they are and not who you want them to be, not who you think they are, is going to help you appreciate them for the things that they're able to do for you and not feel so disappointed or let down when they don't show up for you in the ways that you want them to. Not just that, like I said, your parents, your grandparents, your family members, they have their own life. A lot of us have these attachment issues because once again, it comes from our family. It comes from the trauma. So it's important that before we get into the recommendations on how you're going to create distance and how to set boundaries, you figure out who your parents are, who your family are. If you're not willing to understand and take time to realize what type of trauma, what type of lifestyle that they come from, if they grew up in poverty, if they grew up in slavery, if they come from abuse, if they come from broken homes, if they're coming from addicts, like you cannot project something onto them that they're not even capable of receiving. And a lot of times it's one-sided. You get disappointed when you want your parents or your lovers or your family members or the people you love to be a certain way that they don't know how. If you have love for yourself, if you're confident and you're just very outgoing and these people are not like that, how are they supposed to reciprocate that energy towards you? And it's really important that you recognize the patterns within them. So if you're not able to converse, if you guys are not able to have middle ground, if you're not able to accept that some people are stubborn, some people are set in their ways, and some people are okay with they are, it's literally just going to be a cycle. You have to understand that there's a root to the negativity. Like I said, it could be from ancestors, it could be in the bloodline, it could be generational. It just all depends on what they've been exposed to, what they're willing to learn, and what they want to change. Excuse me, you guys. I have the burps, I have the belps. So when you are setting healthy boundaries, communication is important. You have to be able to communicate your needs clearly and assertively. A lot of people don't like that word assertive. You have to be firm. You have to be direct. The best way to do this is when you're having difficult conversations, is letting that person know that you feel a certain type of way and letting them know how it's affecting you. You have to realize everyone does not have emotional intelligence. Everyone is not me. Everyone is not you. Everyone is not going to be able to comprehend. And some people don't want to. Once you realize somebody is not willing to be considerate of your feelings, if they're dismissive, or if they're not trying, because once again, it takes two people to be in a relationship, you have to learn how to create distance. You have to realize that learning to say no, you don't have to feel obligated, that you don't have to feel guilty, that when you say, I feel like this because X, Y, and Z, and they're not able to apologize, they're not able to ask you questions, they're not able to be patient, it's nothing more you need to do. You have to stop trying to force relationships with people who don't want to be in a relationship with you. And the moment you let that sink, the moment you allow that to click, you're not going to feel like you are going out your way and above and beyond to be in a relationship with somebody who unfortunately doesn't want to be in a relationship with you. And it's not because sometimes they don't love you or they don't care about you. Like I said, everyone's definition of love is different. It takes a very mature person like myself, as well as you, to realize what it takes to be in a relationship with people. Just because automatically you're siblings or you're related or your mom, these titles and these labels are defined based off of what we have been programmed to the world, like mom, dad. That's going to look different. If you were to ask them what a mom is, what a dad is, what a sister is, their definition could be different from yours. So the goal when it comes to building relationships with people, healthy relationships, is to understand perspective, understand the differences, and either accept them or say, you know what, I may not agree with you. I do understand you, and you're either going to work with them or you're not. Going back and forth, trying to over-explain yourself, trying to repeat yourself over and over again, it's not going to change anything. And most importantly, you don't have to force people to be in a relationship with you. If people want to be in a relationship with you, they make time. And you have to realize a lot of elderly people, like a lot of the elders, because they come from slavery, they come from a lot of poverty and trauma, they're set in their ways. They are set in their ways. So if they're not going to go to a therapist, if they're not going to book a service and session with me, your mental health specialist, if they're not going to call up a hotline, if they're not going to a psychiatrist, they're not getting some type of assistance from counseling, you got to learn how to leave people alone. Just because you love your family members doesn't make you a bad person. Just because you cut them off, just because you create distance, does not make you a bad person. You don't need to feel guilty or ashamed. So the first thing you have to realize is, how are these people making you feel? And the best way to do this is either with them or with yourself. And I need you to make a pros and a cons list. And 99% of the time when we make pros and cons lists, we're 100% sure about how we feel. But if you need reassurance, I need you to sit with yourself and ask yourself, how do these people make you feel? I want you to talk about how they make you feel in a positive way as well as a negative way. And when you're writing this information down and you're looking at the pros and the cons, I want you to see what it is that you appreciate about them and what you don't. What you could do to either A, help them, help yourself, make the relationship better, or create distance. Like, we as people have to realize that it is okay to cut off certain people, to cut certain access, or to set boundaries. If they love you like they say they do, it's not going to be an issue. And you have to realize a lot of times, a lot of people say certain things and they don't mean it. A lot of people say, I love you, I like you, I support you, I appreciate you. They're lying. They're lying. A lot of people lie to themselves and they assume everybody else is a liar because of the trauma. Is this acceptable? Do we condone that type of energy? No, that's just what it is. We are here to be practical. We're here to be in reality. I'm not here to sugarcoat you. That's just what it is. In order for you to become educated when it comes to your healing and ascension, you have to be told the truth. And the truth doesn't have a filter. The truth doesn't have a certain amount of feelings. You have to learn how to control your feelings, because that's the thing. When you love somebody more than they love you, and you love yourself, you're the only person who's getting hurt. When you want a relationship with your mother, your father, your parents, or the people that you love, and they're not willing to give it to you, you're looking for a void. And you have this void because of, like I said, the attachment issues, the childhood wounds. And I'm going to hold your hand and I'm going to apologize to you, but we have to learn how to be responsible for ourselves. And a lot of us do come from generational trauma. So that's the reality of it. It's been like this, you guys. There's nothing new underneath the world or the sun. And until we break these cycles, it's going to be the same way. I did not make the rules. I am one out of the 8 allegedly billion people in this world who also too comes from those things. But because I've went through those things and I've experienced them, I've learned to be okay. Like, just because I create distance from certain loved ones, just because I may not have the best relationship with them, doesn't mean that I've never not loved them. Doesn't mean that they haven't done anything, because once again, you know what they've done and they haven't done. But like, enabling people's abuse, enabling people talking badly about you, mistreating you, you don't deserve that. They don't love themselves. So if you really love them, you have to create distance sometimes. It's not a bad thing. Anybody who, like I said, makes you feel bad because you had to separate yourself, they don't care about you. And that's the real question you need to ask yourself. Why do you feel like you need to care about people who don't care about you? It doesn't matter if it's your mom. It doesn't matter if it's your dad. It doesn't matter if it's your boyfriend or even your husband. Now, of course, you should not be in relationships with people who don't even love themselves. That's why it's like, before you start putting these labels and these attachments and putting these people on these pedestals and seeing them in a certain type of way, you need to ask yourself, are you okay? I don't think anyone, or I don't recommend people get in a relationship with people if they're not working on themselves, because it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Like I said, people can be like, oh yeah, I love you. Just because somebody told you that they love you, if they're not showing you that they love you, if they don't, get to know you or pay attention, like I said, or they're not willing to listen to how you feel when you're communicating your needs and, taking the necessary steps to get to know you, it's not worth it. So when it comes to maintaining these relationships and moving forward, it's really important that you yourself are supporting yourself and you're surrounding yourself with people. And you have to realize too, trigger warning, I'm gonna be honest with you, if you're gonna ascend, you're gonna outgrow your family members. You're gonna outgrow a lot of people. There are more people in this world. You're not gonna reach the people who are wanting to be there for you if you don't cut off certain people. And the longer, I'm telling you guys from experience, the longer you stay in relationships with people that no longer serve you, the more you're going to suffer, the more you're going to become bitter. Birds of a feather flock together. The people you surround yourself with are going to be like you. So be mindful of the company that you keep. Be very intentional about the relationships that you want. If you're not sure of yourself, you need to make some time with yourself. Like, build a relationship with yourself before you want somebody else to love you, because that's what it is. A lot of you all have attachment issues. A lot of you all do not love yourself, and that's what we're going to be working on. So if you guys have questions, comments, concerns, give this video a big thumbs up. Let me know what you guys want to talk about. Make sure to follow me on all social media platforms at Ty Guidance. All the information will be down in my description box below. And if you're interested, in a service or a session, head to my website at tyguidance.com. But just because people mistreat you doesn't mean that you deserve to be with them. Like, what's more important? You learning to love yourself and creating distance and working on yourself. And if these people want to get themselves together, they'll be there. Or dealing with people who abuse you psychologically, who abuse you physically, who are not there for you when you need them to be there for you, who talk about you amongst your family, your friends, even your significant others. Like, that's not cool, okay? Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.